Hey everybody, welcome back to Champ & Sons and our Houston Texans Madden 21 franchise, where we will be taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars, division foe of the AFC South. Now before we do, we have a couple things that we need to get into first. We did sign Will Fuller to a 5-year contract extension, so now it's time to see what upgrade is he, or what do we need to do to look at getting him an upgrade? 3 TDs or 150 yards in total. That, oof. It may be a little bit tough, but it's something we're definitely going to work on trying to do with him. That's going to take a look at Darren Fells. He's injured right now, but he has potential to come back. And so we just need to look at, do we let him play through the remainder of this injury or going ahead and keep the backup going? And I'm going to keep the backup going. It's 74 to a 71 overall. And Fells, if he's playing, he drops down to a lot lower than the 71. So it just makes more sense to keep him in. Players ready to negotiate. We're going to check that out. We have our defensive tackle that we signed out of free agency. We may need to keep him on for another year. I'm going to wait on him. Gary and Conley. Conley and Cunningham are probably going to be the ones I need to sign. Vernon Hargraves, he's also very young at 25, so he's got a lot of room for development. He's got a pretty high man coverage at 77. And so we may be able to get him some upgrade points. Same thing with Conley also being at a 77. So we'll probably end up keeping those two. I need to see what else we get available in our scouting, which today, if I haven't already looked at cornerbacks, we're going to go ahead and do that here in just a quick second. So let's go ahead and scout ourselves some cornerbacks. And alright, so we have already got some. Right now we're looking at having the 12th pick in the first round. So, and the next one is the 14th and the 3rd. And I don't think we're going to get too much trade-wise. I just don't see that coming. So let me finish out these scouting points, looking at these cornerbacks real quick. A lot of B's and C's, so nothing all that great at this point for the remainder. I don't see us getting some sort of hidden gem, superstar development pretty much out of the gates with anybody. We do have some guys that are pretty decent as far as press coverage, but man and zone are tending right now to be in the C level. Von Cartwright, Florida State. He's all C's, but was started out projected as a 5th round and has moved up now to be a potential late 2nd round pick. So if he falls, we may be able to pick him up in the 3rd round. Didn't mean to select him. I'm going to add him. He's a 7th round pick. Alright, so we're playing the the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's take a look, see what type of injuries they have, if any. Because right now we are starting to get pretty riddled with them. Darren Fells is on his last week of injury, but Duke Johnson Jr. just got hurt with a torn bicep. Vander has a torn labrum, but we got our defensive tackle and free agents. I just forgot his name, so I'm not going to stress about it. And then Edgio for our right outside linebacker, who's done pretty well for us in that spot. He's a 73 overall, and his backup is, I think, about a 70. So it's not that big of a drop-off. So with him being still 2 weeks out from returning, I don't expect much to change out of that position once he comes back. Of course, he will start. But let's see what the Jags have on their injury report. Let's take a look at that. And we're just going, there we go. And all they got is Leonard Fournette, which in real life has been no longer part of their team. He's gone. Let him go. I said adios. See you later. I don't know why they would do that. Or did they do that in real life? I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of a different series. I think that's done in real life, though. I do still have J.J. Watt on the trading block. I'll show you the offers are still the same as what we're getting. Once we come into our bye week, I may try and see if I can trade up for another top round pick, or if he has a decent year coming into free agency, I'll see about possibly trading him at that time. But we're not going to get anything at this point for him. So I'll probably take him off the trading block off camera. So that's kind of how it is, and that's how we stand. So we are going to go ahead and jump into this game against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
And the game will get started with the Jacksonville Jaguars taking the opening kickoff and starting the game at the 25-yard line with a 1st and 10. And they get a quick little run up just for a couple yards, a good little stop. We're going to be needing to do a lot of that today. Even though they have Leonard Fournette out, it is still something. The rushing attack for the computer has always been pretty successful against us for the most part. And there's Gardner Menschew putting on a big 3rd down pass to get him a 1st. So now we catch up a little later in the drive, and the Jags are on a 3rd and 12. And we go ahead and get them to roll out. And we get the sack and bring them down hard, and that'll make them punt the ball back over to us. And we will take over at our own 14-yard line. And we're going to try to get our running game going. We know that we have our starting running back out, but that's just life. That's just the way it goes in the NFL. So we have to make adjustments. Although I still think Johnson can be a all-down back. We just need him to prove it. And on that one, we get a quick little pass off to Fuller, who's going to get some decent yards for a 1st down. And then a little later in our drive, we find ourselves down to the 12-yard line with a 1st and 10. And on that first snap, we throw it over to Fuller only for a couple as he gets us down to the 8. So now we have ourselves at a 2nd and 6. And we're going to stay back in the shotgun. We're going to try to get some little bit of running room, and hopefully we can bust one open into the end zone here. And we hand the ball off, and there was a hole, but man, does it get filled quickly by that defensive linebackers. And so we are brought down, and now it leaves us with a 3rd and 2 from the 4, so we should at least get some points out of this. Now, Fuller does have the upgrade, so I am going to try to get him with it. And I just throw it blindly and throw the interception. So at least Fuller got the tackle, but that's not going to help out his stats at all. And so now we find ourselves here with the Jacksonville having the ball on a 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. And they are going to run it, and once again, we get them stuffed. That's what we need to do more of. Stop that running game, and allows us to focus on the passing game. Although they do have Gardner Menschew as their quarterback, so hopefully the passing game shouldn't be too much to try to handle. And they get the run off, and we get a quick stop, even though I completely whiff with my linebacker. We ended up still making the stop pretty quickly on, bringing up a 3rd and 6. And so they stay in the shotgun formation, and we're going to try to bring some pressure with Merciless on the outside, and we can't get past him. And Menschew puts it on the dime on the slant and gets a big 1st down play. And he's 4 for 4 on the day. He's looking like a younger Tom Brady, really, just with a cooler stash so far to start this game here in the 1st quarter. And we get the sack and a fumble, but they will recover that on that 1st down. And that's disappointing for us, but that does give them a 2nd and 19. So hopefully we can still be able to try to hold them off over the next 2 plays and get them to punt the ball back to us. And so now from the 2nd and 19, he throws a quick one to the right side, and they break it out open. He's down to about the 20-yard line before we finally get him tackled. Big play on that pass. Menschew remaining perfect for the day. That was really disappointing. On a 2nd and 19, we only allow, 40-some yards. Not what we need to have happen. So we're now on a 1st and 10 from the 21, trying to at least get a turnover, or if anything, make him kick a field goal. And he throws it right down the middle and puts it on a dime between our zone. And Jacksonville will take the lead 7-0. So now we're on our ensuing drive. We have ourselves a 1st and 10, and we get it over to our tight end, who's going to get some decent yards. 8 yards on that play. I would prefer it if we could have somehow gotten the 10, but we don't really like to break a whole lot of tackles. And that's kind of something I've seen with the All Madden difficulty is users aren't breaking a whole lot of tackles. And apparently we're not blocking linebackers either on run plays because our guard ran right past him. Said nope, didn't want to touch him. Social distancing orders are in place. All right, so now we have ourselves at a 3rd and 2. Needing to complete this first down, needing to get some more momentum going our way. We roll out with Watson, and they were spying us and had us the whole way, and so we had to punt the ball back. I mean, what can you say? So now the Jags take it over again and have a 1st and 10, and they get a decent run play for about 8 yards and 4 broken tackles because, the computer can break the tackles, just not the user. Now that we have them down to a 2nd and 2 from their own 35-yard line. And we get ready to bring up some defensive line pressure. We're just not able to get off our block. And once again, their running back is making some moves. And no, that's not Fournette. So now a little later in their drive, they are down to the 9-yard line. And on a 3rd and 8, Menschew stands, doesn't know what to do. And finally, we get some pressure on him with Bellamy and get the sack and force the field goal. So now we're only losing 10-0 instead of 14-0. We really need to get our momentum back. We need to get some yards, some points, and let Watson take over this game. And I'm going to slide down with him. We're about a 9-yard gain. 8 yards is what they gave me. Should have been 9, I say. But 2nd and 2. Here from the 33, needing to try to mount a comeback. We cannot drop down by too many points, or else it'll be dang near impossible. And we get a big run on that play, and Johnson's hauling down the field, but he does get caught from behind just at the 40-yard line. With just under 9 minutes to go in the 2nd quarter, we're trying to get back within striking distance here. So now down 10-0, 3rd and 10 from the 16, inside the red zone. And we get the snap and the drop back, and people are just too much pressure. Nobody getting open. I did not know Jacksonville's defensive backs were that good. Well, apparently they are. So we're left with a 4th and 10, and we're going to try to get this field goal to get back within 1 score. And I completely shanked the field goal. I completely shank it. All right, well, that didn't go as planned, a shanked field goal. Haven't done that in a little while. So we're going to stay down 10-0. That seems about on par for us today. How we're playing, and Menschew just playing out of his shoes. Like I said, playing like Tom Brady here. Just about perfect for the half. And I think at this point he's got 200-some yards already. Their wide receiver Westbrook has 85. Our pass defense is atrocious. And we haven't even gotten anybody. Although I'm starting to think I may have to get rid of one of my 2nd-round picks, and obviously not this draft, but the next draft, or try to pick somebody up. And a little bit later in their drive, with just over 2 minutes, they have a 1st and goal from the 3. And we're just not getting the pressure like we did, and they dump it off to their tight end, who's going to go around the pylon instead of between it. And that'll bring it to a 2nd and goal where they just easily run the ball in because their guys block and my guys like to miss linebackers and just run past them. And that is how the first half will end, ladies and gentlemen. 17-0 deficit for us at home here in Houston. Pretty abysmal by us on all stages of the game. You'll see Menschew has 276 total passing yards for Jacksonville to our 79. But we do have 94 rushing yards, so I guess that's something. And now to take a look at scores from around the league. Buffalo is leading Tennessee 14-7 in Tennessee today. Allen and Tannehill both scoring with touchdowns. And the next game is going to be Panthers at Atlanta. They are getting killed 3-21. Matt Ryan is thrown for 167 and a TD, and Bridgewater is struggling with only 50 yards on 3 for 9 passing. And now we head to the East Coast with L.A. leading Washington 14-10 as Jared Goff has 83 yards and a touchdown, and Dwayne Haskins has a touchdown as well, but 2 interceptions. And so that will lead us to start the second half where we are needing to play nearly perfect to try and get out of this major hole we're in. But we're going to have to play perfect on offense and defense. And it's really defense that has been killing us this game. Our defense, not theirs. It's really been ours. I mean, with the exception of the one mistake that we made on the interception, we just couldn't really get much else going. And we finally get a first down on a running play. Mr. Johnson getting the ball moving. And so we will find ourselves a little bit later in the drive with a 1st and 10 from the 21-yard line. Roll out to the right with Watson. And we going ahead and we hit Brandon Cooks coming across the field for the touchdown, as we are now only down by 10 points. So Jacksonville will take over. And looking a little bit at their drive, starting from the 37-yard line, Menschew gets another perfect pass. As you can see, he's 24 of 25. He's just playing outstanding. I don't know, anybody that you're playing against a quarterback who's 24 for 25, you're going to lose the game. That is ridiculous. And their guys we're not even close to being covered. I made the joke about social distancing earlier, but Jesus. All right, and so a little bit later, we find them at 3rd and 22. And you would think easy stop, right? No. We let their tight end go, and he gets free for about 30 yards on that one, giving him a big first down. So once again, we have him at a 3rd and 6, a 3rd and medium. We're doing what we need to at that point, and we actually get them stopped, and that'll result in a field goal. So they now extend their lead 20-7, coming in with just over 4 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. And after that big run by Watson, special surprise for everybody here, we are joined by Dozer from Champ & Sons.
Hi.
As he's going to join us for just a little bit during this game. And Watson on a big 1st and 10, we hit Brandon Cooks coming across on the slant, and he gets free for some decent yards, taking us down to the 26-yard line. What do you think about that play, Dozer?
Very good.
Dynamite drop in. All right, so now at the 2nd and 10, we hit across to Randall Cobb, who's been playing beastly since he started to get on the field, and we hit him for another touchdown. That brings up like his 3rd touchdown on the season in 2 games. So now we're only trailing 20-14 in this game. We still have a whole quarter left, basically, the 4th quarter. But we're starting to make the comeback. We're doing what we need to do. And Jacksonville on the ensuing drive gets stopped on a run for only 2 yards, bringing them to a 2nd and 8 here from the 27-yard line. And Menschew still looking almost perfect on the day for about 350 passing yards. Let's add on about 10 more yards to that. Why not? 372 passing yards, as y'all saw. So a little bit later in the drive, we have them at a 3rd and 10 from our 36. And Menschew's dropping back. We finally break free, but he gets the pass off, and we're able to bring him down just short of the first down marker. And they kick a field goal, and once again, they'll extend their lead to 23-14. So on the screen pass, we had some movement, but our guard didn't block. Madden, EA, fix the screen pass, for God's sakes. That is re-gosh dang ridiculous. So that brings us to a 2nd and 2. There's only 10 minutes left in the game. We're needing to get some points. We get a big run from Johnson, as that gives us a 1st and 10 from our own 42-yard line. A little bit later in the drive, we have a 3rd and 10 from the 31. And we roll white with Watson. No one's really open, and we throw a risky pass, and thankfully that one was not intercepted. So we do kick the field goal, bringing us to the score to 23-17. Well, Menschew on the following drive with a 3rd and 8 from the 49 looks human as he throws an incomplete pass. So there's just under 5 minutes to go. We're going to try to block this punt, something we haven't really done all year. And we're able to get through the blocking. We block the punt. We pick it up. We're going to score. Murray's going to run. He's at the 10, the 5, touchdown, Houston. That is going to give us the lead 24-23. What a play. What a play. So after that big special teams touchdown, Jacksonville will take over the ball, and they will start their drive. And that's not going to be good for us because Menschew's on fire. Our defense couldn't seem to catch a cold. Hell, our defense couldn't catch the dang corona if they tried to at this point. And so Jacksonville with the 2nd and 1, and they hit the slant, the wide open slant. Our defensive backs are not looking very good. But we do have them at a 3rd and 8, just over 2 minutes to go. We make Menschew roll out, and what does he do? He hits a guy on point. Oh, God. Okay. So that brings them to a 1st-and-goal a little bit later on with just over a minute from the 7-yard line. They have 1 minute left. They're going to run the ball, and we get them stopped. We stop them. That's still a minute and 8, and they will use a timeout. Actually, we use the timeout on that one because I have a feeling there's no way we block a field goal. So we're going to need some time on our hands. And here on 2nd-and-goal, nowhere to go, and Menschew just tosses it, and our linebacker was doing jumping jacks apparently. And so that leaves us with just a minute left in the game, but here we go. Last play. 1 second left on the clock. We heave it down to Cooks. And we can't quite get the catch off, but there's a flag. There's a pass interception. Or pass interference. Pass interference. We got 1 play left. 1 play to resolve this game from the 1-yard line. I'm going to pass it. Our rushing game has sucked. I'm going to pass this ball. We're going to score. I got plenty of guys moving to the left. I got Cooks going on the slant to the right. And they bring too much pressure, and we just heave it up, and it falls incomplete. Oh, no. That is disappointing. Disheartening. The game will end just like that. 31-24. After a great play made by our special teams, our defense could not follow through with the stop that we needed. That one hurts. Like I said, Menschew played nearly perfectly on this game. I think he had like over 400 passing yards. Yeah, 440. We only had 182 rushing yards with only 182 most we've had all year, but 212 to 182 from their 440 to 68-yard lines. So disappointing this game was.
And that was a disappointing finish. I guess I panicked on that 4th or last play of the game. I thought if I had more speed and enough blockers, I wouldn't get the pressure. Obviously, that wasn't the case. I don't know how Cunningham is getting an upgrade. He got completely burned this whole game. Not even close to providing any sort of coverage to anybody. And I will say our offensive line, Howard, did pretty dang good. We didn't really give up a whole lot of sacks. There was definitely pressure, but nothing we couldn't deal with. But so we played. The mistakes is what cost us this one. That interception in the first quarter pretty much changed the shape of this game. It's one of those, if we had gone up 7-0 versus being down 7-0, that changes everything. But then on top of that, when we were down 10-0, we missed the field goal. That just piled it on to us basically. So this was, as well as we did kind of play with our rushing yards, had some of the more rushing yards most that we've had all season. It still was fairly poor performance. I didn't get it done today, Coach. But to be honest, I didn't feel like I was given. Of course, you weren't given the opportunity. You sprained your knee. And whenever we have guys like that getting hurt, spraining their knee, how are you going to get a development stop? How are you going to get that pulled up? But at least you were only out for that game. So we got that going for us. And our passing defense, we have got to do something about that. I'm going to see. I may have to trade away a high draft pick in the next draft. Not the upcoming one, obviously, but in the next draft to try and get a big-time cornerback or something. I need a shutdown player. I really do. So that puts us at 2-3 on the season. Our 2-game winning streak ends at 2 games. And that is how we will finish this one off. So remember to like and subscribe for all of the Champ & Sons content. And as always, everybody, stay safe and later, y'all.